You have just entered the Pinball Zone. I'm your host, Mike Feiertag. You guys usually see me on Batcave Pinball alongside two-time world champ Eric Stone and Dr. Frank Spasaro, Omar Soke. I do a lot of the tournament commentary down here in the Sunshine State. The Pinball Zone is going to be an offspring channel of Batcave Pinball. Yes, there will be some tutorials and walkthroughs, but also there'll be some short clips coming up in about tournament strategy in particular. So I look forward to bringing you guys that. Also in a few months, going to be traveling and moving. We're going to have tournament coverage in my new location that will be in the Smoky Mountains. I look forward to seeing everyone up there and being a part of that circuit. For today, we have a walkthrough of Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm going to try to give some voiceover as well. You're going to see me go from literally start to finish. We're going to make it to the final Wizard mode, save Xandor, and we will defeat it. So stick around. We have a great show. That being said, if you have not already, please thumbs up and like and subscribe. This is Guardians of the Galaxy, and you are in the Pinball Zone. All right, so the name of the game, Guardians of the Galaxy, as we mentioned. You'll see on that main screen and also on the lower part of the playfield, there was 8 episodes. Right now you'll see they're all rectangles on the bottom. Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's 8 rectangles. Each rectangle is an episode or a mode. I chose Nowhere. You will notice in the top left on the screen where the score is, there's a timer. It just went under a minute, so 56, 55 seconds, 54 seconds. You'll see that this color mode is red, and you'll see that below that timer, it is increasing. I have about 50% of it done. You'll see there's about 5 more shots left to go in this mode. Some basic strategy or goals are going for 4 of those. 4 of those modes completed gives you a mini wizard mode called Cherry Bomb multi-ball. It's also very lucrative. Very lucrative mode. Can be, at least. There's a big opportunity for a nice super jackpot. We'll talk about that when I get there. We got a cat in here as well, so we're going to try to get the hair out of here. The timer is going down, and it looks like I have 1 more shot left. You saw I just kind of shook my head. Also giving it a big move there. You see I definitely have the tilt bob on. It endangered me as it should for that movement. By the way, of course, this is we're in the Sunshine State. We're in Florida here. This is my... Back to Nowhere eventually. We're going to move on. This is my home game room. I just was talking to the camera saying we're going to go back to Nowhere. So I moved on. I chose Sanctuary as my next mode. And you'll see if I would have completed Nowhere, that red rectangle would have been solid. You see both Sanctuary in yellow and Nowhere in red are both flashing. The reason, again, they are flashing is neither one of them are done. I chose Sanctuary. I always choose Sanctuary as one of my first 4 modes. Why is that, you ask? It is the least amount of shots in a mode. However, the timer is not a lot, but it's pretty self-explanatory. We are following the lights, so yes, that left orbit is going to be your main shot, but also there's those yellow triangles throughout the playfield as well. You'll see one blinking. Oh, now a bunch of them are up, but those count as shots too in this mode. Another big move, I guess it was clean. So it did look like I finished Sanctuary, so I'm done with Sanctuary. And what you're doing now is, I was going to say, I was not in a mode. You need to get back to the scoop or end that ball to choose another mode. So I choose Pod Chase. I'm going to shout out to my good friend, Dan Coyle. He's one of the original IFPA tournament players. Very good friend of mine. He likes to choose Pod Chase first, and he likes to team it up with group multi-ball. Yes, there is the most shots in Pod Chase for a mode, but it also has the longest timer. And so to team it up with, I just collected an extra ball. Of course, that's not going to be a tournament play. Pod Chase will have, again, the most shots, the longest timer. To team it up with a multi-ball definitely makes sense. My friend Dan Coyle does that first. He'll usually open with that. The reason I did not, and sometimes I do, but I usually kind of prime my group multi-ball a little bit first. He likes to kind of laugh at me and say, Mike, you're gonna have enough time regardless. There's so much time on there. So whether, again, you just open with Pod Chase and start priming your Groot as you get into it, that is definitely fair and okay. If you choose to bring it in, you know, in your first 4 episodes, though, I think that's definitely appropriate. You're gonna, in a tournament or at home, I feel, you know, you want to bring in those multi-balls pretty early on. Again, I'm a big tournament player, so you have the opportunity for the Groot shot in the middle. You just saw I hit that there. You also have the orb, which is going to be that blinking purple light. There's a little drop target in front of it that will go down, and you can then trap the ball back there. 3 times gives you orb multi-ball. So those are 2 of the multi-balls. Groot in the middle, which you just saw me play. Wasn't a big lucrative Groot multi-ball. And it looks like I messed that up too. I didn't finish Pod Chase, it looked like. Correct. Pod Chase is still going to continue. There's 35 seconds left on it. Back to the scoop. Pod Chase is done. Sanctuary is done. Looks like I have nowhere blinking. And it's also going to show me on the bottom in green, on that bottom right, Groot multi-ball is blinking. I'm going to explain why it's not solid in a minute, even though I already played that. The next mode I choose is Antique Shop. The reason I wanted this mode, and typically this is kind of my first 4 modes usually. I don't change it up too much. Maybe I'll bring in a Yaka or a Sibling Rivalry instead of Nowhere. But usually Pod Chase, Sanctuary, and Antique Shop, I'm definitely going to play. Antique Shop, you see that orb shot is blinking with the mode, so looks like, as I just said, I got that upgrade, which in a lot of the modes will give me more shots to be available as well. Let's see if I can start. Oh, Antique is... Oh, doesn't seem like I'm off to an amazing start. We end up blowing this game up as this continues on. And we're going to end up getting to all of the wizard modes. But I thought this first part might have been a little bit smoother. There we go, hitting some... Need to make it back to the scoop so we can again start a mode. I just primed my group multi-ball to go again. The first time you play group multi-ball, you have to lock 3 balls. The next time it will go for 4 balls locked.
Struggling to get control and get in that scoop. Finally was able to get it. We got 1 shot left. What do you say? Just go back in, finish it off. These last 2 up, we got 1 shot at Nowhere as well.
So yeah, I don't want to spread myself out too much. I want to finish the 2 modes that I started and I was not able to complete. So see, I went back into Antique.
One more
Looks like a
cherry bomb. Playing in the home setting, there are some extra balls kept in the game here. We're going to go again back to nowhere. We have 1 shot left. 4, finishing 4 modes. There you go, right there. Good ball save. Finishing 4 modes, lights, cherry bomb in the scoop. As you see it in red. So you can slap that one away, and again had a bailout shot to the right orbit. Gain some control. We'll post passed over and go right into the scoop. This is again a mini wizard mode for finishing 4 of the 8 modes.
As I just got done saying, Cherry Bomb Multi-Ball, this was one of our first goals. Especially if you're in a tournament.
I hit my shots and eventually a super jackpot is going to be lit at Luke's mouth for big points.
Playing in a tournament against quality players, you are going to see some players make it to this spot. Again, I play in the Tampa circuit. A lot of amazing players out here. Some of the best in the world, as a matter of fact. You guys see, of course, Eric's going on Batcave Pinball, who I mentioned earlier, 2-time world champion, 2020 IFP Player of the Year. We run into Eric several times a month in tournaments, so. You see the score has picked up tremendously. I believe I doubled my score just from getting in there. It looked like I got a really big super jackpot at the end, right at the end, which was the majority of that 325 now that I just added onto my score.
We finished 4 of the modes. Antique Shop, Pod Chase, Sanctuary, and Nowhere. I know I'm not explaining too much up until this point, but
and again, I didn't know how I was going to go about this at first, if I was going to do a voiceover like I'm doing now, to try to give a little bit more explanation to that. So you saw over 300,000 was just from that super jackpot on Cherry Bomb. So the score at the bottom of the screen, 473, almost a $500 million, and we have just completed our first goal. Sibling Rivalry is the mode I'm in now. That's going to deal with both of the ramps. The right ramp is also called the Gamora ramp. And what's interesting is after finishing this mode, it gives you a reward where that right ramp will be lit for the same amount of points you just completed it for. So if you get 20 million points in the Sibling Rivalry mode, the right ramp will be lit for another 20 million. A lot of people don't know that. Some people want to bring that into their tournament strategy. The other thing that's interesting is if you put, of course, a 2x multiplier shot on there. I did not explain that in this video. I should probably do that. But if you put your 2x multiplier shot on that ramp, of course, 20 turns into 40. If you had your 2x playfield, which I did not explain either yet, you would, of course, that starts adding up. There's 2 rollovers up top. The first time you complete those rollovers, they turn orange, and your bonus multiplier will go up. So from 1x to 2x. The next time they are completed, they interact with the bottom 3 inlanes. So on the left, you see there's 2 orange inlanes. On the right, there's 1 orange inlane. By getting those 3 on the bottom and the 2 up top, you will have an opportunity to place a 2x shot. Those are the solid circle green shots that you see throughout the playfield. As they just went away, but I believe I had one on Groot. Let's see. I chose Yaka to go into the next mode. That is the blinking mode there. There's a shot to the far left, and also Pop Bumpers gives you a shot at this as well. And I also just made it to the mini wizard mode there. I was kind of talking and didn't see all of that happening. So by touching every mode, not completing them necessarily, but by touching every mode, you go into another wizard mode. Immolation Initiative can be a very, very lucrative. And so I've entered that. And again, that's by just touching all 8 modes, completing at least 50% of the modes, and then getting the 2 main multi-balls, Orb and Group. So some people, I would imagine, might try to just run through modes very quickly and get 50% of the modes out of the way, get into this, where I believe I'm going to blow it up here in a second. I believe this ends up being very lucrative. So I believe that ended, yes. 2x shot is lit, so you see all of the green circles flashing at the moment. Next shot I make, that shot will become 2x. I know there's many different skill levels that will come across this video, whether you are new to pinball or whether you're a more advanced player. I hope that there is information for all skill sets found in this. We will definitely be doing different breakdowns. Definitely a little bit more in-depth over the future. That's something that it's tough to find really good in-depth content out there sometimes. So we're talking about what kind of skills you want to improve on for newer players. We're going to get into stuff like that. We're going to get into the mindset that goes into tournaments. I play a lot of tournaments. I believe just shy of 200 tournaments in the last 2.5 years or so. And yeah, definitely consider myself one of the, you know, that top tier up here in Florida, down here in Florida. So definitely fighting with the best. Got a lot of work to do though. So some interesting moves there. I'm in the Escape Kylan mode, not my favorite mode. It's also, I call it the Racoon Mode. See some poor nudging by me right there. Not that my timing was off necessarily, but definitely wasn't able to slow that ball down enough. Saw it going out to the right out lane.
But we're eating them up quick, so let's see if we can get this damn raccoon shot at the end.
As you hear me say that damn raccoon shot, 24 seconds on the clock. The final shot in Escape Kylan is that little raccoon shot, which is also a very important shot because if you hit that X amount of times and spell Rampage, you will go into a 2x playfield, which is huge, of course. But again, hoping all skill levels find...
Why? Because Quills Treasure,
oh, here we go.
or Quills Quest 2, also known as Quills Quest 2, will be available when I get done with Quills Quest. After all the shots of Quills Quest are done, then what's going to happen is the scoop is going to be lit for 10% of my overall score. The fact that I hit 2x on that shot is very good.
So, a little controversy in regards to Quills Quest. A lot of people, including myself for a long time, chose Quills Quest first. There's nothing wrong with that, especially in a tournament setting. The reason I would sometimes do it in a tournament, especially if I'm not familiar with that specific machine. Quills Quest gives you an opportunity to start out the game with a multi-ball, to kind of get used to the shots, used to the flow, etc. So nothing wrong with that. The reason I did not do that in this home setting that I'm in, again, I'm in my own home game room at the moment. The reason I did not do that for this video was I wanted to show the importance of Quills Quest Treasure, or Quills Quest 2. What is that? Similar to the Gamora shot in Sibling Rivalry.
All of the episodes.
Here we go.
And have touched the 2 multi-balls. It's going to unlock the other, the first main wizard mode. The mini wizard mode is Cherry Bomb. This is, I can't pronounce this one.
I thought I was already in
What's
this.
this one called?
I was going to say, that seemed early when I said that earlier.
You want to spot me for a second?
I think I'm talking to... I think Ashley walked in. Anyway, so now I'm definitely in the wizard mode. I was going to say, something seemed weird earlier. Quills Quest Treasure. Back to that for a second. So when you're done with Quills Quest, the scoop will light up for a countdown for 10% of your score. For a hurry up of 10% of your score. Very, very important shot. Oh, and see, I didn't do that yet. That's why that's blinking. I see what happened. So yeah, forgive me. I was not in that earlier. I'm in an Immolation Initiative now. You can see the solid white light in between orb and root on the bottom. Now I am in that. That is because, again, I touched 50% of all the modes. Quills Quest is actually not done yet, so you will see the example I was trying to get to here in a minute.
Whoa, clip that.
And how lucrative that can be. I end up in this video, I believe, hitting that Quills Quest treasure shot twice. After I beat the game, I choose to go back into it and take another advantage at a shot that will be worth 10% of my score. So, you know, you're at a home setting, you have over $1 billion, you get where this is going. And I believe we have one shot on video here that is over $1 billion. I want to say it's 1.3 we get that Quills Quest Treasure from. So, some people don't know that, some people do. Definitely, you know, try to implement that into your game. Even if it's a tournament, you want to use that, sure, on your, you know, 3rd or 4th mode, you know, do it and shoot, you know, 10% of 100,000, obviously, you know, 10,000 or 10 million. You get where I'm going with this. Everything will add up. So. Put a 1.5 billion on the board so far. And you see there's a lot of solid lights in the middle of that playfield. Most of the episodes, all the episodes other than Quills Quest are complete. And I will need to go back into the multi-balls. So Orb multi-ball and Brute multi-ball are not solid. The reason that why they are not is I didn't hit 2 super jackpots in each multi-ball. So you'll need 2 super jackpots for each multi-ball in order to start Save Xandor, which is the main wizard mode, which we'll get to shortly. Notice my hand coming off of the flipper buttons. There is an action button that is not on screen. There's an action button that you see on some of these modern Sterns. And what's going on there is the yellow triangles throughout the playfield. The little yellow triangles. By hitting all 5 of them, you qualify for, as you see right on the screen, Hydro Enforcer is qualified. By hitting all 5 of those shots, you get the action button flashing yellow. That means it's like spotting a shot. It's spotting a shot. It's what it's doing. I will use those pretty much right away, unless I'm in like group multi-ball alone. I usually try to use those for modes as my point. See, trying to slow down this multi-ball a little bit. Been playing it for a while, over 2 billion now on the board, so definitely been racking up, hitting our shots for the most part. Have a Again, trying to play as conservative as I can. Also probably trying to get my energy back to some extent. I think I get that back. Nope, lost the 1, so we're down to 2. Still in Immolation Initiative, which once again is another wizard mode in this game. 3 wizard modes: Cherry Bomb, Immolation Initiative, and Save Xandor. A good shot there, I think. So 2.1.
Ball stuck.
Believe we need to get back to the scoop. Oh, I was going to say ball was stuck. That's what was going on, and I just said that. Ball was stuck in the pop bumpers. I just noticed that there. Okay, yes. Obviously it came loose. I ended up getting, I believe, another atta ball, so now there's 3 in play. It's been a very long Immolation Initiative. You can see it's just going to keep going if you hit your shots. Prior to this recording, my top score on Guardians was 4.2 billion. You're going to see we're going to exceed that today. We're going to pass that. So. If you guys want to catch some tournament coverage here in the Sunshine State, you can check out Batcave Pinball and also Browndog Pinball. Browndog Pinball acts as the archive base for Batcave Pinball. You see I'm rocking the Batcave shirt right there. You'll see an array of characters, some of the best, again, in the Sunshine State and in the world. I mentioned Eric Stone and Dr. Frank Spissaro earlier on in the program, but you'll notice a lot of big names out this way. So check those out. Browndog Pinball is the archive system, as I said, and Batcave Pinball. You're going to see a lot of Eric Stone tutorials on Batcave. I'm in some of those as well. Again, we are just a growing pinball community here, so I've been fortunate enough to start this channel. We'll start out slow, but we're going to also get some tournament coverage in the next few months, and in the future, hopefully that will definitely be a normal thing. I'm not going to give details about that. We'll get back to the game, but very excited about the upcoming outlook on our tournaments here on the Pinball Zone. Let's see, I'm still in Immolation Initiative.
Wow! Big points right there. That was over like $1 billion that shot. Oh my gosh. I think that was it. I think they restart that for you because, yeah, that was huge. Whatever that was, we're going to have to look back on that. I've never seen that before. My high on this game is 4.2 before I'm recording this for you guys, obviously here, and I'm excited that we're going to have this one on tape, so very cool.
And you see my excitement there. Yeah, this was kind of a cool thing. I said, you know what, I'm going to throw on the cameras, and it was my first time recording me doing a full game.
That Quills Quest
and yeah, we ended up...
Treasure, 10% shot is going to be very lucrative here, especially if we can get it.
Yeah, this is very exciting. As I'm explaining, yeah, I need to finish Quills Quest and get right back to that scoop for that big lucrative shot. It's going to be 10% of my score, so 10% of virtually $4 billion. And I tell my very close friends, I don't want to make that final shot.
Give it to me.
And yes.
Yep, see as quick as can be. 7.91 million on that Quills Treasure up. That was a huge thing. That's 10% of your mode. That's the reason I do Quills Quest last. And that's awesome that everyone was able to see that. Beautiful.
I'm glad that was on there. Obviously, we're going to enter another orb multi-ball. You saw 700 and change, one shot, Quills Treasure. Some of you may not know that. I hope everyone ends up trying that at one point or the other. I'm going to hit another Quills Treasure here coming up in a few minutes. How? Because the game's going to end up pretty much resetting itself. I'm going to go back into it and hit even more than that. As I was saying, I don't want to hit that final Quills Quest Treasure shot unless the ball is pretty much ready to go on my left flipper, if possible, because I want to hit that hurry-up shot as soon as I can. Ooh, look at danger there with the high knee, a ski pass from left to right.
I think that's what I needed. Yep, that's what I needed. No. Nope, still blinking. Damn.
So,
I think I need one more of those.
we're going to have to
Probably cut that. That's crazy.
go back into both of the multi-balls, Groot and Orb. And the reason why they're still blinking, I said it a few minutes ago, I need 2 super jackpots. 2 super jackpots in each multi-ball to qualify Save Xandor, which is the final wizard. So here we go, one more lock. Here we go for Groot. So I need one more shot to Groot, which is of course right in the middle. There we go. We're going into this naked, as I would say. Naked meaning I don't have a mode, but all of the modes are done at the moment. So again, my goal here is to get a super jackpot. You don't need the 2 in 1 is what I'm saying. So I got one earlier. So all I need is 1 super jackpot in this mode, 1 super jackpot in Orb. And again, we'll end up going right into Save Xandor. Very exciting. The final wizard mode, the final boss. Will I beat it? Will I not? I don't know. Gotta stick around. Or fast forward. As we're hunting this for this super jackpot, I want to just shout out to Little Shop of Games. Little Shop of Games is the place where I rent a lot of my games from. Actually, all of the games that I rent are from Little Shop of Games. If you're in the Tampa area, Little Shop of Games is your one-stop shop. They have pinball parts, they have used pinball machines, new pinball machines in the box, and they also rent games as well. As a tournament player, I have found it very beneficial to be able to rent a new Stern for a month, 2, 3, 4 months, sometimes at a time, mastering the game, and then getting to try that out on tournaments. So shout out again to Little Shop of Games. You guys will see they're one of like the sponsors of IFPA, very big deal. They also have Pinball on the Beach coming up in February 2025 here in Florida at St. Pete Beach. Looking forward to that. Shout out to my friend Marshall Dixon. A lot of you know him in the pinball community. He's been a major part of it. And again, thank you very much to him and to Little Shop of Games. So our group multi-ball, we were able to get the super jackpot. You see the entire play field is lit other than the flashing purple, as I just pointed to. The flashing purple indicating I didn't get the super jackpot. The 2s, ooh, what a move. I didn't get 2 super jackpots in Orb yet, so I'm going to end up trying to do that here. 4.9 billion on the board. So definitely many ways of going about this game. You see that this strategy or string of modes worked for me. Again, there's nothing too difficult about this game in regards to the code. It's pretty much you pick a mode, you follow the lights. Yes, there's those other things going on, but a lot of games have different things. You know, I'm a big fan of Jaws and Godzilla. Both Keith Elwin games, very deep games. You know, this game, I will say, as much as I've enjoyed it, I've had it for under a month. And, you know, I feel like I kind of have my way with it. So, hopefully I'll be able to duplicate that when I go to tournaments. But learning it has been very, again, beneficial for me to have it in-house. So if you're a tournament player and trying to get an edge on some of your competition, I definitely recommend finding out if there's any local pinball places that will rent machines. I do play in quite a few tournaments, probably on the low end, probably 5 or 6 a month. We hit pretty much all of the tournaments that we can. I've been pretty fortunate over the last few months too. We've been able to travel throughout the state. You'll hear me talking a lot on this channel about the level of competition down here. I'm a fan of the Bo and Kern's Papa videos, so shout out to him. And you'll see in the beginning of his video, he always thanks Jeff and Atticus Palmer. Jeff and Atticus both are, you know, huge pinball players down here as well. So yeah, we run into everybody. Very exciting super state to compete in. And we are back in Orb multi-ball now. We've been in here again several times, really trying to get that super jackpot so we can explore Save Xandor. $5.7 billion. Had to settle up there, see what was going on. Lost one there right down the middle. Oh no. Got it back? Yep. Oof. Save Xandor is now lit, so I was able to get that super jackpot. Save Xandor is blinking on the bottom of the playfield, and also the scoop is where I need to hit it. There it is. So here's your wizard mode.
How we do this? Sure, I'll end up putting this too. Of course, you got the wizard mode here. Going through all of the modes and scoring 2 super jackpots in both the orb and the root, cherry bomb, Immolation Initiative, all that.
Started out Save Xandor with 5.7. Nothing too huge yet, but we have put on about 100 million since starting this mode. Kind of going around the playfield, hitting our shots. So all the purple shots, of course, are lit. Virtually everything, as you start hitting them, they end up going away, and you'll need to hit only certain shots. Of course, yes, it is possible to get to this mode and then not beat it. You know, if you're a fan of Stern Connect, which I think Stern has done a great job bringing Stern Connect into all these games, you'll notice that, yeah, you can get to Save Xandor, start Save Xandor, but if you don't beat it, you will not get that achievement. So. And real quick, I'll backtrack. If we were in a tournament, and the main thing I want to do is I want to go through modes, 4 modes in particular, to get to Cherry Bomb multi-ball. And in those first 4 modes, I definitely want to bring in Orb multi-ball and Groot multi-ball in those first 4 modes. How you at home choose to pick your episodes or modes, that is totally up to you. You saw what I did today. Starting out with Nowhere, and then Sanctuary. We then went to Pod Chase. We then did Antique Shot. I mentioned another one that I typically will bring in is that Yaka mode. And then real quick too, I will talk about that Escape Kylan mode. I call it the Racoon Mode. I sometimes bring that into a multi-ball just because sometimes I find hitting that last shot, sometimes I struggle with, so sometimes I'll choose to do that. But I usually choose Escape Kylan pretty close to last, especially if I'm at the house or someone else's game. I will definitely not be picking that if I'm in a tournament in my first 4 moves. That's just me. I know several people that enjoy that mode that have no issue with the shot that I'm referring to, the Raccoon shot. So again, we are all different. That's what makes pinball very interesting. We have different skill sets. I find myself to be pretty much a conservative player compared to a lot, and I pride myself on my defense as well. I am not as good of a shot as a lot of people. My accuracy is not where I want it to be. So again, I have to depend on my defense to keep the pinball alive. I have to focus on my game knowledge, which I pride myself of. I'm one of the more knowledgeable. We have a lot of knowledgeable players out here. I shouldn't say it like that. Definitely a knowledgeable player. So between knowledge, again, your flipper skills, knowing when to drop catch or live catch, knowing when to dead bounce, being comfortable with nudging, not over nudging. I went through a period. Oh, that is it. Beat the game right there. You'll notice all of the modes went away.
That's it. It's over.
Who is this guy?
Cool, guys.
Everything is just reset.
Sign off here in a minute. Woo!
No, we're not. We're going to stick around for a few more minutes. I'm going to show you the Quills Quest again with Quills Quest Treasure. 10% of our score at over 7 billion. And I think I pretty much kind of end it shortly after that.
Started over, so awesome.
But yeah, game knowledge, huge. Knowing when not to over nudge, as I was about to say a minute ago. I went through a stage of over nudging. All of my 2x shots are pretty much lit. I think they are, because again, I've been playing this ball for quite a while. Everything is at 2x. You see I went right back in Quills Quest. Why did I do that? It's because I want that Quills Quest Treasure one more time. The first time, I had over 700 million. This time, obviously, if I'm able to hit it, it's going to be worth a lot more.
Let me try to get through Quills Quest again. And I believe it's going to, again, honor that 10% on my score shot on the right. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, at this point when I was filming, I wasn't really sure if it was going to honor that, but it does. So, see, I'm a little bit farther than halfway through Quills Quest, top left of the screen. On the scoreboard, that is. 125 seconds remaining. So, Quills Quest stopped because I lost the 1 ball. So, anytime you hear like the soundtrack going in the background, you know, oh, okay, I'm not in a mode. Trying to get some control, get to that scoop. And I believe I'm just going to go right back into it because, again, I want that shot. I want that shot. As I'm struggling to find that scoop. I will say this is a game that, yeah, the scoop is very important. So patience in pinball overall is a huge deal, of course. But I found that, yeah, you need to be patient with this game. And look, I was struggling with getting to the scoop, so I cradled up, full cradle, not a trap, full cradle, post passed from right to left, and now we hit that scoop. Here we go, Quills Quest, boom. Quills Quest Treasure is lit. Quills Quest Treasure is lit. Let's see if I can get to that scoop.
There it is.
Yep. 1.3 billion.
Billion on that shot. Because again, I took advantage
Sick.
of it twice.
Nasty.
Huge deal for you, those of you who did not know that. Again, you finished Quills Quest. Huge deal right there, guys. Thanks for being with me. I was gonna kind of let the balls drain here, but I'm gonna play it out a little bit. Oh my goodness.
Final few minutes here. As I just said in this recording, thank you guys for joining me tonight. This video, of course, will be available on the Pinball Zone. Please do like and subscribe. Comment down below. Definitely appreciate that. This is my first of many videos by myself, so hopefully, again, the quality and everything will get better. We're going to have a lot of fun here. I plan on bringing on a lot of my buddies, guys, and gals onto the Pinball Zone, and we're going to just talk pinball a lot. That's going to be a big part of this. And again, we're going to hopefully give a real deep dive into the tournament circuits across the United States. 8.3 billion. I'm redoing Sanctuary now. See, Quills Quest is done. Again, this is my second time around, so that's why I ended up choosing Quills Quest first. I wanted that hidden treasure shot, or Quills Quest 2. Some of you might be making fun of my Quills Quest Treasure shot. I don't know if it's really called that, but in Stern Connect it is, and I'm going with it. So. Yeah, we have a few major tournaments left here in Florida for 2024, and then it is on to a brand new season. At the day of this recording, I was in the top 24 in the state. They, of course, take the top 24. I believe by the time I'm doing this voiceover, I think I'm right at 25th as of today. So hopefully get some good results in some of these larger tournaments. I know a lot of us are traveling down to Fort Myers for a big tournament on October 5th. Shout out to my good friend Vince Gellermine. He's hosting that event. Vince, we love you. Vince, you can find a lot of his stuff. Whoa, big move. You can find a lot of his content. Some tutorials with Vince.
Zone, very cool.
On Batcave Pinball and Browndog Pinball. So. It looks like that's going to be it. I'm going to collect my bonus.
Guys, I'm going to sign
and
off.
Call it a day.
Being with us on our first showing here. I'm Mike Feiertag. You're in the Pinball Zone. Stick around. We'll see you next time, guys. Keep flipping.